Hey, welcome into the Fantasy Flow. Today we are taking a look at a real draft that has taken place, fantasy draft. Andy and I, this is our home league, and we're taking you behind the scenes. This is an actual draft, not a mock draft. This is what actually happened. This is league has been going on for 10 years. We drafted last week, and Andy, you are the commissioner. You are also the reigning champ. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about this league?
Yeah, 10 years. I actually didn't even know that until you just said that right now. That is bonkers in my mind. Yeah, these are all us Eastern Washington University engineering, mechanical engineering students. Started this league while we were in school
That's right.
and kept it going along the years. Some people in and out, but for the most part, we've kept everybody in here. 10-team league, $80 buy-in. This is this is real money, folks. This is a real draft, and we're gonna walk you through people's strategies, certain draft picks, couple rounds, and just give you guys an overall look of what a real money draft looks like.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. This draft has stakes. It was not $80 a person when we were in college, but now that all of us
Right,
engineers graduated, we've
right.
raised the stakes a little bit. This is a total redraft league. No dynasty, no keepers, nothing. Just hit the reset button every year. PPR, 10 teams. Uh, let's just jump into it.
Sure.
Um, all right. So round one, we see Jamar Chase. He's pretty much the consensus number one pick. Totally get it. And then it's followed by three running backs: Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, and Jameer Gibbs. Um, I have the sixth pick in this draft. I was bummed to see those three running backs go, although I was not surprised. CeeDee Lamb goes at five, so I had to pick between Derrick Henry and Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just really feel comfortable starting off with a running back. I think it just, even though it's a PPR, even though it's 10 team and all this, and there's two running back, two wide receiver, two flex, by the way. Um, yeah, I just didn't feel comfortable starting off with a wide receiver, and I think Derrick Henry, even though it's a PPR, it's like it's really all about touchdowns. It's about luck. It's about touchdowns, and touchdowns is about opportunities, and Derrick Henry gets those. Like I'm just not overthinking it. I'm just taking the a great workhorse back on a run heavy team, on a great team that's going to be ahead in the third and fourth quarter. Um, yeah, I love
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah, and he plays for one of your favorite teams, so it's
That doesn't
hard.
hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hard to knock you on that one. Definitely out of the first round was the surprise pick. This a little bit earlier than ADP, I would say. But yeah, I nobody can blame you there, especially if things go well. And I was really hoping for St. Brown. Any of these wide receivers, I would have been happy with. Obviously, and the first round, it's really hard to knock the first round. I'm not too worried about Stafford. I'm not too worried about Puka or the Rams whatsoever. And
Yeah, so this draft was at least a week ago,
mhm.
and Matthew Stafford was not practicing. I think news just came out this morning that he is now back at practice. But tell me more about that. Your thought process there. Were you scared of picking Nakua, or you just even then you knew that Stafford was going to come back?
Yeah, even then, I really wasn't that worried. I think I'm pretty optimistic on the whole Matthew Stafford situation, and they have Jimmy G in case things go terribly wrong. And the morning of this draft, I was really banking on a running back here. And when
Mm,
Hayden Tapani goes Christian McCaffrey, it really solves my decision making on what direction I need to go in. Kind of made the decision an hour before the draft. Like if CMC isn't there, I'm going wide receiver.
sure, I love that. And yeah, in our previous video, we talked about the best and worst picks from every round, and our best picks in the first round were Amon-Ra St. Brown and Puka Nakua. And
Right.
so St. Brown goes right before you. So you took
Right.
Puka. I love it.
Okay, moving on to round two. As you can see, this is the full second round in front of you. I had back to back picks. So, like I said earlier, because CMC had gone before me, I had made the decision earlier to go wide receiver, wide receiver. and I went Nico Collins. I think this is a pretty consensus pick at this spot at the 2-1 in a 10 man. I have two stalwart wide receivers on my team. My wide receiver spots are instantly filled out in the first two rounds. I'm very happy with both of these guys.
Yeah, that's an awesome start. I love both of those players. Nico Collins, he's my guy in my dynasty league. Um, you passed up Achan, Josh Jacobs, Ashton Genty. We talked about Ashton Genty. Josh Jacobs is so consistent. Um, really just a good pick. And then, especially the news, this was after this draft, but before this recording, Marshawn Lloyd is going to miss even more time this year. Thought he was going to come back and start to eat into some of that workload, but it turns out he's still hurt again. That guy just can't get it going. So Josh Jacobs is just so safe. And he took CMC in round one. And I'm on record saying that I love CMC in the first round when you pair him with another running back,
Mm-hmm.
because that way, if something were to happen to CMC, you still have a running back. So I love that start. And I love that start from you as well. I love both of those players, but you're not worried about not having a running back until the 3-4 turn?
No, I definitely very much was, but just all the research and all the practice I had done earlier,
Yeah.
everything said to go wide receiver, especially in our double flex league, just to go that wide receiver heavy. And as you'll see a little bit later on, I was able to find those pieces later on in the draft. I mean, even in the second round, we're seeing Josh Allen and Brock Bowers go in a 10-man league.
Oh yeah, no, I mean there's no one right way to do it. Like you can construct a roster however you want, and you're gonna be able to recover. Where we're gonna see that. Like these teams are gonna
Right.
diverge quickly, and this is what we're here to talk about, the different sort of roster building strategies, right? So yeah, I totally agree with you, and yeah, we'll see how you filled out the rest of your team later. Talking about Hayden, that third place team from the 8 spot, starting 2 running backs. And then the next team starting with 2 wide receivers. And then you get to my team. I went back to the well with running backs. So I have Derrick Henry, who is known as just the ground and pound, tons of carries. And then I get Devon Achane, who's like basically the opposite. He's like a PPR machine. So that's just a fun duality there. And yeah, now we know that Achan he hurt his calf, so we'll see. He might be ready for week one. Hopefully, he's ready for
Right.
week one. That's just great. That's really the best case scenario. A week after your draft, you find out one of your top picks hurt himself, lower body, a soft tissue injury. Those are just the best. So
Hey,
really,
this is exactly why I said Achan is the worst pick in this round, is because all it he is a fragile man. His body is fragile.
he didn't miss
And
a single game last year.
he didn't miss a single game last year. That's how fragile he is.
He was that due for an injury. It was, but before week one this year, he
Right,
got hurt.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you went with a solid foundation, and then in my mind, little bit of risk. So, like,
Yeah.
I think it balances out. As I'm seeing another observation, I'm seeing two Las Vegas Raiders went in the second round. When have we ever said that in fantasy football?
No, yeah, no. I cannot remember the last time that happened.
Never. I don't think we've ever had that happen. So that just shows like how much people believe in the Raiders, and maybe a little bit too high. I had a interesting phone call with my friend yesterday. He's a friend of the show, and he said, I don't think Brock Bowers is going to finish as a tight end 3, like top 3. I think Brock Bowers is going to take a pretty big dip this year." And I said, "Wow, you are the first person to say that, my friend. I don't think anybody I've heard that from anyone in any camp, and you were the solo camper in that one."
I appreciate that hot take. Yeah. I think a lot of people, there's a discussion about whether or not he's worth a second round pick. Most
Mm,
people agree that he's a top 3 tight end. It'd be pretty hard to argue otherwise, but yeah, I think there's a chance that they're able to spread the ball around a little bit more. They have a couple rookie wide receivers that are going to get in the mix. Maybe it's not so focused on Brock Bowers. I just think Brock Bowers is just such a special talent. I mean, he's an absolute mismatch. And he spent most
Sure.
of his, it was like the old Jimmy Graham days where he was trying to get franchise tagged as a receiver because he spent most of his snaps
Mm,
at receiver. That's what Brock Bowers literally did last year. And I anticipate he's going to do that again. Um,
yep. Yep. I agree. And do you have any other notes, any other comments on this second round?
no, I want to talk about this team in the third spot, Zach. You know, he's very
Hmm.
sharp. He follows fantasy football almost as much as we do. And yeah, I think Chase Brown is just a really, really smart pick there. I was between Chase Brown and Achan when I was up. And yeah, he goes just a few picks later to Zach. So both him and I have started off running back, running back.
Moving on to round three.
Yeah. Just right away, the team with the number one pick, you got Jamar Chase, the wide receiver one, Brock Bowers, the tight end one, and then Kyron Williams, who feels very safe, especially now that
Hmm.
he has that contract. Like, he's a workhorse running back for a good offense on a good team. Like, what more can you ask for? That's just a very strong start. And yeah, John, he got the number one pick for a reason.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
So
exactly.
he needed some help and he got it. He did not waste that opportunity there.
You have to remember here, he's gonna wait. He's gonna have to wait about 20 picks till his next opportunity. So, yeah, him grabbing a running back one on a really good team. I think that's really important there. Drake London, Brian Thomas, and then the second quarterback. I mean, two quarterbacks in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Austin Van Warmer goes Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar's going to finish ahead of Josh Allen this year, so I think he got the better quarterback. And then going down to your pick, man, 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds. Explain yourself.
I don't know. I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I just got so much testosterone, man. It's just nothing but running backs. Yeah, no. I don't know, man. I don't know. How do we get here? I just I love
Apple.
Drake London. I love Drake London. He was
Hmm.
taken at the 302. Brian Thomas, I know this is a 10-team league, but it is insane to see Brian Thomas in the third round, even in 10-team leagues. No one wanted to take him because I think we all are just really down on the Jaguars this year.
Hmm. Hmm.
And Zach, he's a sharp fantasy pro. He has no alliances, no allegiances, and he sees Brian Thomas the value. He scoops him up, and so either he's going to be just absolutely rolling, or we're all right about the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
one of those teams, one of those two things is going to be true. I love Lamar Jackson. I was probably going to take Lamar Jackson, but he
Mm.
was chosen, and then yeah, I just was honestly, Drake London and Brian Thomas were like the last of a tier at wide receiver for me. After that, it's just a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of change in the wide receiver core in LA. The Seahawks, don't get me started. I mean, so
Right.
much
Right.
turnover. The coordinator, the quarterback, and then Tyreek Hill. Look, I already have exposure to Tyreek Hill in Dynasty, and he's a very risky player, so I didn't want to have Tyreek Hill everywhere. And I took a Miami Dolphin with my most recent
Hmm.
pick. I'm not going to
Hmm.
take two Dolphins out of my first three picks. So I would have to reach on a wide receiver, and I just didn't love those. I kind of saw Jonathan Taylor as just another really safe, cozy running back who I will start every single week in my flex. And yeah, I had kind of gone into this knowing that this could be a possible outcome, that I was going to start running back. And if it fell a certain way, I could go three running backs. And there were wide receivers that I felt good enough about later. And so we'll get there. But yeah,
Sure.
no, it's not smart. I wouldn't recommend this. This is silly. But yeah, just last thing I'll say, in a 10-team league with only 5 bench spots, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, there's always going to be wide receivers available.
Hmm.
They're not going to
Hmm.
be great, but they're going to be better than you think. There's always going to be some wide receivers available on waivers. You and the same cannot be said about running backs.
I totally agree. And even their backup, even Henry's backup, Achan's, Taylor's backup,
They're
none
all
of them are
available.
going to produce the way that they are. Whereas a wide receiver's backup or the third string or the third or the wide receiver 3 on a certain team could produce just as equally as a wide receiver 2 on their team, on said team. So I totally agree. There's a lot of value in having those nest eggs of running backs. This was the strategy that I was leaning towards about an hour or so prior to the draft. I wanted to copy this
Mm.
strategy. And then the more mock drafts I did, the more practice I did, I realized I can't. I'm just going to be reaching for these guys, and I'm going to be losing, reaching for running backs, and I'm going to be losing so much potential value with wide receivers.
In a bunch of mock drafts, I'm sure Malik Neighbors was a first round pick. I'm sure Brian Thomas
Yes,
Jr. was way higher. And just in a
yes.
real draft, people are just afraid to touch players on those terrible teams.
After you goes Brees Hall, JSN, Tyreek Hill, as you mentioned. And here's my first risky pick, I think, is Omarion Hampton. I am leaning on to the rookie, leaning on to the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, and that whole basis of a Jim Harbaugh running back on a run-heavy team. I'm just hoping he gets fed like crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, your team, since the draft, it's already aged so well. Like,
Hmm.
Matthew Stafford's back at practice, so Puka's looking good. And then, yeah, they're talking about Najee, like, potentially starting the season on the pup or at least
Right.
missing the first couple weeks. So, not only is Omarion Hampton going to have those weeks of the backfield to himself, basically, but, like, that could set the tone for the rest of the season if he does well. Like,
Yeah.
it went from Najee being the starter and Omarion Hampton having to like work his way into the lineup to just the total role reversal of like Hampton's getting all the work in practice and will in week one, and then Najee's going to have to work his way in, prove that he is healthy enough and capable enough. And I, I, I don't know. Yeah, I think Omarion Hampton could run away with it. Like
I agree.
it,
I
it's a
agree.
it's a
I think
totally fine pick and the high, just high upside.
exactly. And that's where I was going with. I mean, this guy had a firework explode on his eye. Like, this guy can't see. He can't open his eye. If it was a leg injury, if it was an ankle, if it was
Yeah.
a rib, something that could heal over time, and but he could still be out there, I would be a little bit more cautious. But then I started to think about it. He can't see. Najee can't open his eye. When is he going to be able to play again? Like, we don't know. He could be out for half the year with this eye injury. We like the eye. it- you can't do anything if you can't see. That was my
Vision
reasoning.
vision is important for running
Right.
back. We
Right.
we
For
talk about it
anything.
all the time. We don't normally talk about it as literally as we're
Literal
talking
sense.
about it now.
Okay, moving on to round 4. Now, I'll talk about my team just because I was the very first pick in round 4. This is where I think I messed up in this round. I had Trey McBride. I had George Kittle right there for the picking. Usually, McBride was going earlier in this sense, and and I had my what I think is probably going to be a top 3 tight end with George Kittle available. I kind of just panicked. I had been going Garrett Wilson in this spot in my mock drafts. I believe the Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson connection is going to be strong. So I kind of just went with what I knew instead of maybe with what I should have done looking
Yeah,
back at it
man.
now.
I mean, you just got done saying in a previous video, you were telling our listeners that Garrett Wilson was like your favorite pick of the third round. And so
Yes.
here he is, pick number 31, which in a 12-team league would be near the end of the third round. And
Hmm.
in this case, he's your fourth player on your roster. So yeah, it's just very safe, secure fantasy points every week. But yeah, it is. It's a bet on Justin Fields to be able to get him
Yes.
that ball.
Yes. Which right now, as we were seeing in preseason and in camp, isn't looking too good. But at the same time, I do believe that connection. We've seen that connection work with other folks, and I believe that will come alive here. It might just not be as early as people think. And Garrett Wilson, looking back at his history, he's a very floor heavy player. There's not a ton of upside, so I think adding him to this early was just, especially when those 2 tight ends are on the board, That's,
Yeah.
I think I just have a little bit. I think I let the strong wide receiver case stay in my head a little bit too much, and blinded me on what my team could have been in this spot.
Well, that's really tough at the turn, I will say, because
Right.
it's a long wait for you. I know you love George Kittle. Trey McBride is a huge value at this point. Taking George Kittle here, like I said, pick 31. I know we love George Kittle in the fourth round, but this is the first pick of the fourth round in a 10 team league. It's not too early, but it would be early to take George Kittle. I don't
Hmm.
blame you for not going that direction. And then as we see Hayden here in the eight spot, I mean, I already loved his running back duo to start off the draft. Not so high on JSN, but I suppose he's kind of like Garrett Wilson in that he's like guaranteed
Yeah.
volume and has
Hmm.
upside. Don't hate it. And then he takes George Kittle, and it's just like, man, can this guy just stop drafting uh, great players? Yeah,
Right.
his second 49er. So, hopefully something happens to Brock Purdy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. And then when it came to my pick, Trey McBride was still on the board, and I was fully aware in the moment of what an incredible value that was. I mean, he's always the second tight end off the board.
Hmm.
He's still on the board, and two tight ends have gone in the fourth round. That is just massive. But I had backed myself into a corner by taking the same freaking position three times in a row.
Right.
I didn't want to go into round five without a receiver on my roster. I just didn't want to do that. Wasn't willing to. So I passed on the value of Trey McBride and I took my top receiver that was available. I took Marvin Harrison.
Sure.
I think he's a good player. Yes, it's a projection that he's going into year two. I think he's going to figure it out. I love that he's added on some muscle, and I just think he's just too talented. I was not touching him at all last year at the 1-2 turn. Everyone thought
Right.
that he was going to have the greatest rookie year of all time. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's way too much of a projection. I'm not touching him in the first two rounds. But this year, yeah, like I'll buy the dip. Like he's gonna be better. Like this is normal. This is normal. Like not
Hmm.
everyone does what Malik Neighbors did in his rookie year. Like this is normal. This is when he should break out. So yeah, I feel good about that pick, but I kind of wish, boy, like what could I have done? What could I have done? Like maybe I took him or Mike Evans in round three, and then that would have freed me up. That would have given me more flexibility to take on a tight
Mm.
end in round four.
Sure. Yeah. I kind of agree with that take. But at the same time, I think Marvin. I think even I'm looking at even this spot. Say you keep those three running backs and Mike Evans or Marvin Harrison. I like Mike Evans a little bit better than Marvin Harrison, but Mike Evans gives you again like a nice solid floor. At some point, your team has to add some upside players. I feel like Henry, Taylor, those are your floor guys. Achan and Harrison, those are your ceiling guys, right? And so
Right.
I'm a big component of building your foundation and then throwing in the darts for the upside. Not that Harrison is a dart throw, but he definitely represents the upper echelon
Yeah, you
more than
you
Mike
you
Evans.
can't just play it safe every time. I totally
Right,
agree with what
right.
you're saying. In a 10-team league, it's funny, it's like I don't know, take like Jalen Hurts for example. He goes in round 4 here and like if Jalen Hurts is the QB 5 this year
Hmm.
in a 10-team league, that's like average.
Yeah,
Like that's like not that much of an advantage. I mean, maybe there's a huge gap between 5 and 6, like we don't know.
sure.
But like in a 10-team league, if you have the QB 5 or the tight end 5, it's like not that big of a
Right,
deal.
right.
Your league average, if you want to look at it that way. So yeah,
Yep, I agree.
it is funny. I'm looking at, okay, this is a season long redraft league. I am insulated from running back injuries. That is the most fragile position. That is the most well, it's the most shallow position. Like it's hard to
Hmm.
find workhorse running backs. I have three of them, and now I have a really high upside wide receiver. But yeah, like I said, I don't love it. I just seeing Trey McBride in the fourth round and seeing that I could have picked him and I didn't. It's like, oh my God, what were you doing?
That's
But
that.
anyways,
Yeah, that's how I feel. Okay,
yeah,
so looking at the rest of the fourth round here, Mike Evans, Jalen Hurts, T. Higgins, Ken Walker. Who's your favorite team after the fourth round?
I love John's team. That's in the one slot. I mean, Jamar Chase, Brock Bowers, like come on, and then he
Right,
has Kyron Williams and Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker looks great on paper. That's where he looks the best. is
right.
before the season when he's healthy. On paper, he looks like a workhorse running back on a run first team. All the changes that they've made this offseason have been to get the running game going. And in preseason, holy cow. I mean, the Seahawks have really ran the heck out of the ball so far in preseason. Kenneth Walker hasn't played, but yeah, I mean it looks great on paper. And yeah,
Yeah,
wide receiver one, tight end one, two running backs. Come on.
it's John and Zach's team for me. That looks like the best value, best overall standings, upside, ceiling, floor. Overall, it's hard to, like you said, it's hard to argue with these two right here. And then just variance wise or spread out wise, I like Zach's team to the two
Yeah.
solid running backs, a wide receiver one, and I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts in fantasy football. Moving on to the fifth and sixth round here, we see Devontae Adams, a couple tight ends, a couple more quarterbacks. Just looking at these next two rounds, 5 and 6, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs out of 20 picks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely wide receiver. Couple people got their tight ends. Couple people got their quarterbacks.
So this is
Yeah,
crazy, Andy. So after you took Omarion Hampton and Garrett Wilson, only four running backs were taken out of 18 picks. And
yeah,
then
you're
and then
right.
you got to take another running back. So that was very
Right.
fortunate. I mean, ADP is a huge part of that. But yeah, no, that's pretty surprising. And yeah, I mean, obviously I went running back, running back, running back, so I wasn't going to take another one.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about your pick here. You had two tight ends and Jaden Daniels go. Well, actually, technically, you had three tight ends and then Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels go before you. You knew you were probably going to go either wide receiver or
Yeah.
maybe Jaden Daniels there in that spot.
I love all these wide receivers. After I took
Hmm.
Marvin, it went Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf. Like I love all those wide receivers. I would have been happy with
Yeah,
any of them, especially Devontae Adams. I mean, at the time, we didn't know about Matthew Stafford's back, how serious it was. You were
sure.
telling me it wasn't a big deal. Other people were freaking out. I didn't know what to do. I definitely would have taken Devontae Adams over DJ
Mm,
Moore, though. I love both of them, though. Yeah, I ended up with DJ Moore. That's just how it fell. Yeah, I love Caleb Williams. I think this offense is going to take a leap with their new head coach. And yeah, I think it's a good combination of like safe with upside. Um,
right.
yeah,
I
no
totally
problems
agree.
at all. Jaden Daniels is kind of an annoyingly good value here in the fifth round. Went right before me. I would have had to really consider that.
And then, like in my opinion, the very first like big snipe from Thorin to myself,
Mm,
I was just loving that upside of Hampton and that nice floor safe foundation with James Conner. And then, sure enough, Thorin comes and snags him right along. Very pissed off about that. If you were in the chat, you would have heard me screaming. And I think Joe Mixon should go here instead of Chuba Hubbard, but just with just the way that I built my teams up to this point, I couldn't take the risk of having Joe be
mm,
missing the first couple weeks or be, unsure if he'll be ready for week one. I went with what is the running back one. I know David Montgomery is does kind of like the split. We're kind of banking on Gibbs taking a larger role, so I
yeah.
had to get my RB2 really. That's how I looked at this situation. I wasn't drafting Chuba in any of my mock drafts, but I was really banking on the Connor falling there. And yeah, like I said, I was very loud and annoyed by that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about how good Kenneth Walker looks on paper. I think Chuba Hubbard's like the opposite, where he doesn't look good on paper, but in season, you're like, oh yeah, that guy is a workhorse running back who's on a team who is going to be throwing a lot in the fourth quarter, and he did everything you could possibly ask of a fantasy running back last year, and he just got a huge contract extension. Like he's a sneaky safe player. At the 5-6 turn, I think you did well. If I was in your shoes, I might have doubled up at running back, but you can tell I'm just a little more paranoid about that position than you are. So,
Sure,
I
sure.
I respect it. We both love Cortland Sutton. We both love the Broncos. Don't need to
Right.
really
Yeah.
hammer that home any more than we already have. But
Exactly. I mean, the big consideration was Scary Terry there. I mean, Scary Terry was just dropping. Nobody was willing to take the risk, and at that
yeah,
spot, I already have three great wide receivers. Like I can afford a little bit of risk, but I can't, like we said, I can't go away from what I believe in, and I believe that Denver is going to be a top notch team this year.
this is so fun looking back at this, man, because this is a real money league as opposed to all your little mock drafts, right? Like in a
Right.
real money league, you don't want to pull the trigger on Terry McLaurin. You don't want to pull the trigger on Joe Mixon, who's not going to be there week one. Yeah, we see Rashee Rice here at the end of round six.
Oh
Um,
boy. Yep. Yeah. That was
it,
this. Yeah.
so, anyways, it just these players fall farther, even farther than you think they will in a money league because people are just scared to take them. And now we look at Hayden's team from that 8 spot. That's what I'm talking about. He had those
Hmm.
two rock star running backs rounds 1 and 2, and then he fills out the rest of his team with just a very scary, consistent group. I mean that there's just volume plays. Those three wide receivers, that's very formidable considering that none of those guys were in the first 2 rounds. Now that's through 6 rounds. Hayden has now moved into like one of my favorite teams.
Yeah, I can't argue that at all.
Assuming
Yeah,
McLaurin comes back week one. Again,
no,
he's
and
still
which he
holding
will.
out. Yeah.
Right, which he should. We've seen this happen with Jamar Chase. We've seen this happen with CeeDee Lamb, where they're in contract disputes and then they get paid,
Yeah.
and everyone's scared in the moment, and then they get paid and they come back and they're just these amazing superstars.
Literally
I
Jamar
totally
Chase last year.
Yeah. I totally agree. This is just such a fun team. High upside, good floor. It has the onesie spot already filled out. I mean, this is just I totally agree. And even Will right here, he takes Joe Mixon because he can afford that risk. He has his two running backs already filled out, so he doesn't need Joe Mixon right off the bat. And then
Yeah,
we go to
I
you.
sure. Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, this was like the most obvious pick in my mind. Like, of course he's gonna go Jamison Williams here, and sure enough, he does. Yeah, like I know you've been high on him this year, and it just the way I was seeing your roster, and I just predicted it in the moment during the call, and sure enough, there it was.
Yeah, some mocks, when I did go quarterback or tight end early, Jamison Williams would end up as my wide receiver too, and I
Mm,
was okay with that. I'm like, yeah, okay. I think he is going to finish somewhere between 11 and 20. Like I'm totally okay with him as my wide receiver too, knowing that I have rock stars at other positions. That didn't end up happening because I didn't go quarterback or tight end. But in this scenario, Jamison Williams is my wide receiver 3, so I really like that. Yeah, suddenly, it was a little hairy there for a second because I didn't
sure.
have anything except for running backs through 3 rounds. But now that I have Jamison Williams as my wide receiver 3, like, are you kidding me? In my flex, I have Jonathan Taylor and Jamison Williams. So
Yeah,
my
yeah. This
flex
is
positions are going to outscore everyone else's flex positions. I feel confident about that. And I wanted to say before we moved off of Hayden's team, they're in the 8 spot. That team led by CMC. That team is has the highest point projections of all the teams for week one.
yes, that is correct. Yep,
So that
that's
doesn't win
good
you the
points.
league, but it is nice.
No, it's a good thing to it's a great thing to see. One thing I'm noticing between these first 6 rounds is there was half the league went with a tight end, half the league went with a quarterback, and 3 out of those 5 went both of those, quarterback and tight end. And so I think
Good point.
realize looking back at it now, all this value, like look at this side of the draft here, all this value at running back and wide receiver, while the beginning of the draft they tended to go more tight end and quarterback heavy, and it will be interesting to see how that pans out through the rest of the draft, how that affects everything.
That is super interesting. Yeah, I think ADP influenced that, and I think also you could maybe look at the fact that we inverse the standings.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, definitely. Your how you do in the season depends on how you're drafting the next year. Um, yeah, and then moving on to the rest of this round, I think this is where John Shine's team kind of takes a pretty big dip. Is this Rashee Rice? We didn't know at the time that his disciplinary meeting would be after the first 4 weeks, but even then, it was a very risky, anywhere range from 2 to 8 game suspension as the season starts. I just
Yeah.
felt like he had such a great foundation. Why are you taking this like flyer in the 6th round? I that was my opinion when it happened.
Massive upside play. I mean, yeah, we didn't know anything about the suspension. We knew that he would be suspended, but we didn't know when or for how long, and we still don't, honestly.
Sure.
We just know that he'll be available for week one in all likelihood. So, yeah, I mean, it's a scary lineup. I'm just not that big of a fan of Rasheed Rice to begin with. So,
No,
I,
neither
I
am
I
I.
thought it was just okay of a pick. I mean, now this year you have Xavier Worthy going into year two. He's going to take a leap, right? You have Hollywood Brown who's actually healthy, and you have another rookie that they drafted, I believe, in the fourth round. So it's
Mm,
like Kansas City loves spreading the ball around, and now they actually have enough pieces to spread the ball around. So Rasheed Rice isn't going to like be this dominant wide receiver one like he was for 3 weeks last year. I've already talked about this in a previous video, but yeah, he's going to be suspended for a while. It's going to be super inconvenient, and I don't think he's going to be like that dominant player. Like it's not going to be worth it.
sure.
But one thing that I wanted to bring up here through 6 rounds, you mentioned there are 3 teams who went quarterback and tight end through 6 rounds. All 3 of those teams only took one running back in the first 5 rounds. Let's talk
Yeah.
about those teams and how we feel about their running back rooms and the rest of their teams. Was it a good idea to go hero running back in the case of AJ here in the second round slot?
Yes, I think they can afford that luxury. Honestly, they went maybe McLean, maybe not so much there because he's going in the second round instead of the first, but definitely Austin Van Warmer and AJ here. I think they can afford that luxury to. They want to get a top end running back. They want to get a top end running back. They want to get quarterback. They want to get a top end tight end all early on. I think they're allowed to. They're it's
Yeah.
affordable. It's okay, but that you bring up a very good point here. I think with Corey's team, when you have Bucky as your running back one, and then yeah, you have Jaden Daniels, McBride, but like, what is your, just as you're saying, like you have 3 amazing running backs. Like, what is his running back two situation going to look like moving forward?
Right, right. Yeah, I'm nervous for sure for him and his running back room. I love Saquon Barkley and Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco's really sneaky running back. He represented kind of the last of a tier for me at running
Mm,
back. If I was doing something like what you did, where you went wide receiver heavy early, but you still got yourself some nice running backs, I would have considered Pacheco even at the
mm,
5-6 turn, just because there's so many points to be had in such an efficient Mahomes-led offense. And I'm projecting health for Pacheco. I know he represents risk to some people, but he's healthy right now, and I think he's a workhorse. So yeah, I think AJ kind of pulled it off a little better than the other teams. But yeah,
yes.
taking a quarterback that early, like there's no one right way to do it in fantasy. But man, to take a quarterback that early, it's like he has to repeat as an MVP candidate at least. Like
Yes.
a
I
lot of things
agree.
have to go right for that to make sense. But Yeah,
Yep,
I
I agree.
really don't mind his team. You know, these all tend to kind of balance out. But yeah, we'll
Sure.
see because that fourth and fifth slot still with just rocking one running back.
Feast your eyes on our beautiful draft board across our league.
More sense at this point to just break it down team by team.
Okay, sure. Let's do
Maybe we
that.
can do a little bit of both. But yeah, just looking at this number one slot here, he was already pretty balanced. He didn't have a quarterback. He waited all the way until the end to take a quarterback, and he still ended up with Dak Prescott, which I think is like
Huge.
I was like, dang, respect, bro. Like I didn't know we were drafting with like a veteran, you know. Uh, so yeah, I loved his picks. You know, I'm a huge RJ Harvey guy. Bummed to
Hmm.
see him go there, but yeah, no, I like it. And then he took J.K. Dobbins. So whichever way that backfield works out, you know,
Yep.
if they split all season, then that's a bummer. But I mean, we're only really talking about his running back three. Like he still has Kyron Williams and Kenneth Walker. So
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite teams here in the one spot from John Shine.
yeah,
Just has he has studs all around, and like you said, he has his backup to RJ Harvey, and I really think Jordan Mason could eventually take over this Minnesota backfield, or definitely contribute in the at the goal line. And like you said, getting Dak in the 12th round is a major steal. Moving on to the two spot, AJ. Um, yeah, I'm not so high on Laporta, but I've been more and more convinced lately of this Tyrone Tracy situation. I think with Scatabo being hurt during camp, being a rookie, I think they're going to lean on to what they know, and this offense is going to be just a tad better. Tracy, I think, yeah, exactly. Yep, Tracy is going to hold that running back spot for a while, and he doesn't really need him. Even if he doesn't even need him. So, yeah,
no, yeah, we're fighting after this.
yeah, that's fine. That's okay. I'll
No,
put him up.
yeah. We'll fight later. I like Scatabo, especially if it's a guy you're not even starting. Like,
Hmm.
imagine starting Tyrone Tracy in a 10-team league. Like, it's just such a
Oh no.
boring, low octane pick where like Cam Scatabo really has upside. Um, you know,
Yes, I agree.
maybe you drop him or maybe he turns into a stud. Tyrone
Sure.
Tracy kind of falls right in between for me where I'm just kind of like I don't even know what that pick is. But yeah, I don't know. Not my favorite team. Next.
No, not my favorite team either. This is definitely a top contender of my favorite team. Zach's team. He has Trayvon Henderson, which I hate that he got him there. I was banking, as you can see, I was kind of banking on some of these running backs
And
getting
Cam
back to me.
Scatabo. Yeah.
Yeah. And he has Cam Scatabo. He has Tyler Warren. I mean, look how late he waited for a tight end. Like, yes, he went with a early quarterback, but he definitely was
Smart.
patient
Yeah,
and
yeah.
got Tyler Warren.
This kid's sharp. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
Mr. 4.0 over here. Like, you know,
right,
what
right.
do you expect?
What do you expect?
Look, I took a flyer on a rookie tight end last year, and that kind of worked out for me. His name was Brock Bowers, but he wasn't my tight end one. Like I had
Hmm.
taken, I believe Mark Andrews earlier, and Brock Bowers was my second tight end that I drafted last year because I was just like, well, there's good value. He has high upside. I love the prospect. Like, let's see what happens. You normally don't draft two tight ends, but let's just see what happens. So he's doing that this year, which I respect. But it's his one and only tight end on his roster. There's risk there, but like, look,
There is.
the rest of his team is so stacked because he did that. So
I agree.
it's totally fine.
I agree. Definitely a top contender of my favorite team. Moving on to Austin Van Wormer's team, he went with the double tight end stack. We were flipping him a lot of crap there in the
Oh
chat
yeah,
of why are you drafting Travis Kelsey when you already have Mark Andrews? But look how far Travis Kelsey falls, all the way to the ninth round. Um, I was going to mention
yeah.
when we were looking at the first 6 rounds how he wasn't involved. He wasn't one of the first 5 tight ends picked off the board. I mean, when was the last time that happened? Maybe the last 7 years or something like that. That's he hasn't been in the top five, top
Yeah,
two
yeah.
even.
There's a lot going on with Travis Kelsey. There's a lot going on. There's
Right.
fatigue, just the fact that he's been there so long, people are a little bored. There's actual animosity with the whole uh, Taylor Swift of it all.
Oh yeah.
And there's the fact that he actually fell off last year. Like he had his worst fantasy performance in a decade. And
Hmm.
I would just caution people that look, I think there's room to bounce back, especially when you look at his touchdowns. I think he only had like 2 or 3 touchdowns all last year. That's probably going to swing back. And especially since they lost the Super Bowl, nothing gets you fired up like losing the Super Bowl, which he hasn't experienced in a hot minute. So now
Hmm.
really there's a fire lit under him. I believe that he is taking the offseason a little more seriously than he had previously. I think he's going to come back. And I was really excited to take him here in this round. I was like, wow, I had not taken any Travis Kelsey, but he's fallen so far. I think I'm actually going to get him. And then, nope, two
Yeah,
picks before me. He gets taken. That's fine.
of
But
course.
I want to circle back to the running backs because we talked about how he started off with Gibbs and that was just fine. Okay, you can wait to take an RB2, but he waits all the way. What is this, round 8? He
Yeah.
waited until round 8 to take a running back two,
Yeah.
and he took Brian Robinson, whom, just as of yesterday, sounds like the Commanders, they don't see him as their RB1, to say the least.
They don't see him as a running back on their team before the
Yeah,
season starts. I mean, we just watched the preseason game here of the Cincinnati Bengals and Washington Commanders, and he was not on the field. He was sitting on the bench.
yeah, yep, yeah. All
This
the
is
other
a
all
this
the
is a
other starters
risky.
were out there, and he was not. So that's very concerning. And then the only other running back he took in the whole draft was Zuko, Najee Harris.
Yeah, yep. That's I think he did it for the memes, one-eyed Najee type of situation. But I mean, this team is just full of risk. He goes 3 Baltimore Ravens players, and one of them is not named Derrick Henry. I
Yeah,
think that would scare the living crap out of me. He has 2 stalwart tight ends for some reason. It's just a mishmash of a team. It
Travis
looks
Hunter might not play offense full time. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
it's a lot. There's a
it's a
lot going
lot.
on
It's
there.
got a lot going on. Yeah, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to McLean here, Corey's team. Not a lot of holes to poke at, to be quite honest.
Right. So
Maybe
let's
the
let's
running
talk about
back.
the running backs because yeah, we
Yeah.
just to compare and contrast because he also just took one running back early and then waited. And I feel like, and I would love to talk to Corey because I feel like this wasn't even intentional. Because how could he have predicted that Trey McBride would be available in round 4? How could he have predicted Jaden Daniels would be available in round 5? Like, I feel like he was just taking the value as it came to him, and he just ended up not taking a running back. And then he finally takes DeAndre Swift and Jalen Warren. I feel okay about DeAndre Swift in my running back 2 spot. I think he's going to start off week 1 with pretty much all the running back work.
Hmm.
I like the Bears offense. I mean, I took DJ Moore pretty early, so him and I think we're both projecting better days ahead for the Bears offense. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually grabbing more Jalen Warren the more I can in mock drafts lately. I think it sounds like their rookie that they drafted, Caleb Johnson, is not up to snuff as much as they had hoped. I think they're going to lean on to Jalen Warren. It's an Arthur Smith led offense slash Aaron Rodgers led offense. So I think it's going to be a lot of running the football, a lot of checkdowns, and Jalen
Yeah.
Warren's going to get those. So I think having Jalen Warren there as your RB2 or your RB3, they're kind of similar players, him and Swift, in my opinion. So yeah, I think it's a lot better than Van Warmer's side of the
I
situation
mean,
for sure.
they'd be similar if the Bears also took a round 3 running back, but they didn't. So like to me, Swift is of in a
Safer.
different tier than Warren.
Oh yeah, I just meant like skill set wise. Sorry.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, moving on to yourself here. I'll evaluate you, and I give everything looks good except for Caleb Johnson. As I just mentioned, Caleb Johnson. No, I'm giving you crap. I mean, look at those 4 wide receivers. Honestly, like yes, the top 3 running backs stand out, but having those 4, Like compare those four to my four, and I'm like, wow, they're like honestly not that far off from me. I wouldn't mind either side of the coin there of having your four wide receivers or having my four wide receivers. Uh, Calvin Ridley, I think, is a great steal in the seventh round, and then Njoku in the ninth, and then you got Kyler Murray. And this is what's so great about the 10-man league is there is so much quarterback depth in our league that if Kyler Murray like runs flat for the first 3 weeks, you can get rid of him and pick
Yeah.
up somebody else that's running hot. Like that's what's so great about this.
Yeah, yeah. A couple interesting things. Yes, I was thrilled to have Calvin Ridley as my wide receiver four. He's on my bench, so like I hopefully there's kind of a theme with my bench players. It's like it's guys who either they pop off or they're nothing, and then I throw them away. Like in a
Mm-hmm.
10-team league, yes, like I want safety out of my starters, and then my bench players, I want upside. So that's why I took Calvin Ridley. If Cam Ward can play the guitar, then he's gonna feast as the wide receiver one. Uh, Caleb Johnson, look, him and Warren went back to back picks, and as my running back four, excuse me, I want someone with upside, and that's the rookie.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big bodied physical rookie. I think that's a nightmare of a situation. I took him because I thought it was great value, and I had just taken four wide receivers in a row, so I kind of wanted to go back the other way. That's my criticism of myself is that just positionally, I really pigeonholed myself into going. Like I felt like I had to go running back early, then I felt like I had to go receiver later, and I wasn't
Mm,
really taking it as it came to me. I kind of yeah, I forced myself into some of these picks in kind of an uncomfortable way, but I stand by the Caleb Johnson pick just because it's upside. Like this is what your bench spots are for, and then
right.
was Javonte Williams down there again? Like maybe he's the workhorse for Dallas, and if
Yeah.
he's the
Yeah.
workhorse, then it's a great pick, and if he's not, I drop him.
Exactly. And it made sense because as you can see here, Travis Kelsey was still on the board. You knew you liked Njoku.
Yeah,
And, Tyler, like there was still plenty of depth at tight end that I felt like you could have gone either way, right?
yeah.
And look at that, you still ended up with Njoku. So I
Njoku,
think
yeah,
it was
Njoku
smart.
is who I was targeting the whole time. I was just
Right.
shocked that Kelsey was about to fall to me. I would have taken him,
Exactly.
but like it's whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Moving on to Will's team here. This is looking at it now. This is honestly maybe a top three team that I'm really loving. I'm kind of starting to hop more on this Malik Neighbors train. I think having Russ there is going to boost him up more than maybe we think. I think the Giants' defense is, we've been kind of preaching this for years, but I think the Giants' defense, and especially that front line, is going to be very hard to play against. And so, therefore, they're going to have a little bit more offensive opportunities than last year. And looking at his running backs, Brees Hall, Kamara, Mixon, and Judkins, they all have a little bit of risk in them. But collectively, they could be also be very, very good.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't want to shit talk his team too much. I like the strategy. I just don't like the specific players that he
Mm,
picked.
sure.
I think Hawkinson waiting and scooping up Hawkinson is good value there. But yeah, I don't know. I just Brees Hall, that seems like a horrible pick in the third round right now. I don't like
Yeah.
the Jets
Yeah.
offense. It seems like they're going to go running back by committee there.
Sure.
Judkins still hasn't signed a contract as of this recording, so I don't know what we're doing there. Chris Olave, I mean, there's just a lot of players that we talked about in a not so great way on a recent
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. I think yeah, maybe that's what I'm seeing is the green is the collective like Andy is Joe Burrow. I don't know. I kind of I just Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, Joe Burrow, TJ Hawkinson, Joe Mixon, like names I really do like and they're all on one team, so it's hard to
Fair
knock it
enough.
in one way.
Yeah.
But yeah, his receivers are looking sketch. Okay, moving on to Hayden. Let's see here.
Yeah, those two
Yeah,
rock star running backs off the rip, and then the only
yeah,
other running back he took in the whole draft was Tony Pollard. So He is
Mm,
really counting on health from CMC because he has no one behind him. Um, I would be nervous about that if I was him, but on paper, it looks great. Sleeper thinks it looks great. I mean, like I said, this team has the most projected points. So props to him. Mahomes in the 8th round as opposed to Joe Burrow in the 5th round. Like, give me Mahomes there all day.
I agree. I agree. Mahomes is definitely going to bounce back a little bit more. Last year, he was like the third or fourth quarterback off the board, and now what? He was the third. He was the seventh.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's. I think that's exactly where he should be, and there's a lot of potential upside there. And Tony Pollard in coming down to the end, I was targeting Tony Pollard
Sneaky
here,
good
and
pick. Yeah,
for
for
my
sure.
yeah, as my third running back, and so I was deeply upset that Hayden got him. And then we go to Thorne at the 9 spot. We go St. Brown. I mean, gosh, look at all these. Gosh, dang it! Look at all these running backs he has. He has just running pick of the litter at running backs. Bo Nix. Yes, his wide receivers are thin, but and old.
At least they're top heavy. I mean, these guys
Yes,
are
top
freaking
heavy.
all
Thank you.
pros.
Yeah, top heavy for sure, for sure. Weighted on the tight end situation. I mean, those are both guys that could either he could drop after week one or keep around.
Yeah,
But man,
this is a man after my own heart. He took 6 running backs.
in the first 6 rounds, yeah, yeah, and yeah, just oh no, sorry, yeah, you're right. 6 running backs in total. Yes, you're
Right.
you're right. You're totally right. And I mean, it's projected Travis Etienne is the running back one on the Jags, and he got him in the 10th round. He drafted a backup before he drafted Travis Etienne. How
Yeah.
insane is that?
Yeah, a certified backup went like around before ETN. That's
Right,
funny.
right. That's wild,
And then yeah,
um,
the snipe of the draft. We got to talk about it.
dude. This Bo Nix. I mean, right here at my 7th pick, I'm looking at Tony. My two players queued up are Tony Pollard and Bo Nix, and they just go back to back. I'm fuming. I'm not happy with Thorne at all at this point. He just sniped me in the round before with James Conner, and then he snipes me again with Bo Nix. It's just so frustrating because I was just so hyped to have this guy. I knew I was going to go Bo Nix and Evan Ingram stack, and then this guy kills me and just brings out the 50 cal and shoots my head off. Not cool, man.
You got to love it. You got to love it. I mean, serves you right for beating him in the championship game. I mean, this wouldn't have happened if you just lost last year. Then you'd
Right.
be in the 9 spot. So
Oh
I
boy.
kind of appreciate him getting a little getting one back. Hey, look, you're reigning champ. You get to talk about it, and yeah, that's what you get. You get the 10th pick, and stuff like this happens. So who did you get? Who did you end up with?
Yep. Yep. I ended up with Baker Mayfield in actually the next the 2 rounds after that. I got sniped there. I realized I had to have at least a third running back, so I went Aaron Jones. Not my favorite pickup, but everybody else wasn't looking too hot before or leading up after that anyway. So I went with Aaron Jones. Don't really know how I feel about it, but then of course went with my guy Evan Ingram, and then Baker, Rome, and then honestly, like I think I'm really lucky here to get a bouquet at the like pretty much the last like important pick of the draft. That combo with Baker, I think, could really spark this team up in a good way.
Yeah, yeah, that's a crazy steal. Emeka Egbuka that far down. Baker Mayfield was already a steal, and then you get
Right.
Egbuka like at the very end is insane. You kind of did what you had to do with Aaron Jones and Evan Ingram there.
Yeah.
I don't have a
Yep.
problem with it. But yeah, no, definitely Baker Mayfield, Rome Odunze. That's a perfect pick in a 10-team league for your bench. That's exactly what I was talking about, where it's like, hey, either this guy pops off or the Bears offense sucks again and you just drop him. Like it's
Right.
just a perfect pick at that point in the draft. And yeah, I don't know. I really like your team. It's super
Well,
solid.
thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I think, really think Zach's team is my overall favorite team.
Yeah, I liked Zach's team so much. I had to poach one of his players. I sent a trade right after the draft because he wanted Caleb Johnson. I took him before he had the chance, and then I hoped Scatabo would come back to me, and he didn't because Zach took him. So it's one of these, hurt people, as they
Right.
say, So, uh, yeah, we had to do a little swap ski, and wasn't exactly one for one. I got some fab and whatever else, but yeah, no, I got my guy in Scatabo, despite what you're seeing on the screen there, and then he got Caleb Johnson. So
Yeah, I will say that I think that makes perfect sense. One thing I just haven't quite understood is maybe in a 12 or 14 team league, I can understand taking two quarterbacks, but in a 10 team league, especially when you draft Josh Allen in the second round, why are you taking Justin Herbert in as your backup? You're never going to
yeah,
play him.
if you're
Why are you
starting,
taking Jared Goff when you have Joe Burrow? Like, come on here.
yeah, something's gone wrong if you're starting that guy, and then he's just going to
Right.
be a roster clogger.
Overall, great draft. Good to get one out of the way, and excited to do more here in the near future.
Yeah, pretty rare that we do it this early, just the way that our
Yes,
schedule is shook out. But I love it. It gives us a chance to reflect on it and bring it to our listeners, some advice, some analysis, and yeah,
and a real
best
life
of luck to
example.
you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. Right back at you, my guy. It'll be interesting to see after week one.
All right, thanks for rocking with us. Hope you enjoyed the analysis of our first real draft. We just came out with another video right before this, breaking down our predictions for the 2025 NFL season. So give that a listen. And we got more content coming throughout the whole season. Every single week, we're coming out with advice, reactions, predictions, picks, all the stuff. So give us a like, give us a subscribe. Don't miss it.